here to talk to you about your waist. Now, many people don't really know what we're talking about in Tai Chi when we say turn the waist, or rotate the waist, or even twist the waist. Often people will say, when you talk about turning the waist, you really mean the hips, don't you? And they say this because for most people the waist does not actually twist. It will not even change shape. And some people try to blame this on anatomy textbooks and animations that show dorsiflexion happening from the lumbar vertebrae up. Now the waist is the region between your rib cage and your pelvis. So it's this area in here. So when we say turn the waist, we mean the actual waist. Now when I ask my students to twist their waist, often we will see this. They'll look at their waist and they'll turn it back and forth, side to side. Right? But they'll swing it, but there's no actual waist movement happening. Instead, what they're doing is twisting their knees and their ankles and pronating and supinating the feet. So when we finally get them to keep the hips still, then what we find is that they twist their upper waist. Now, in order to get the hips still, often we have to get people to sit down in a chair. So I will ask my students to sit in a chair and keep their sit bones on the chair and do the twisting like this. Now I'll say, put your hands on your shoulders and twist your waist. If I don't say put your hands on the shoulders, then people will do this. And they're really just moving their arms and their neck to the side. They're not actually twisting the waist. If they put their hands on their shoulders or in the middle of the chest like so, then they can see if their rib cage is actually twisting or turning. So what we see then is some kind of lateral dorsiflexion, but often it's the obliques or it's the rotatorius muscles or multifidus muscles in the spine, but they're not really rotating the waist. See how the waist is not really moving? The rib cage is twisting here, but it's only moving the thoracic vertebrae. It's not actually twisting the lumbar vertebrae. The lumbar vertebrae are down here. So in order to get the waist to twist, we have to reference the navel and say, move your navel relative to your legs. So move your belly button towards your left leg, and then move your belly button towards your right leg. So if you can move your belly button over the leg without moving your hips and without shifting and tilting the body, then you will be twisting your waist. And this requires that the lower back open up. So sitting down really helps to get the feeling of twisting the waist. In fact, I want you to think of the waist as having 6 different layers. First, 3 layers above the navel, from the sternum to the navel. If you move the sternum relative to the navel, you're moving the top 3 layers. And if you move the navel relative to the top of the pubic symphysis, if you move your navel relative to the pelvis, then you're twisting the lower 3 layers. Then you can break them down into 3 sections. So you can go sternum, here, here, and navel. So move this section relative to here. So you move the sternum, okay? Then you move that relative to here, and then you move this section relative to the navel. Then you separate the area between the navel and the pubic bone, and you separate that into 3 sections. So for acupuncturists out there, from the navel to Chi, the sea of Chi, moving the navel relative to Chi, and then moving Chi relative to Guanyuan, and then moving Guanyuan relative to the pubic bone. Now you can move this one, then this one, then this one, then this one, and so on. So you can move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 layers. This is twisting the waist. Now, to do this when you're standing up is usually rather difficult because most people stand with a lot of tension in the small of their back. And if you watch anatomy textbooks and see animations, you'll see that this is considered a normal anatomical position. But in this position, your pressure is on your hips, your knees, your ankles, the small of your back. It causes tension in the neck and in the shoulders. I would suggest that the proper anatomical position is with the lower back straight. If you can straighten out the lower back, you can use any kind of vertical straight edge to check to see that your lower back is straight and vertical, like the corner of a door frame or a wall. Don't use a flat surface like a wall, but use a corner in the room to straighten out your spine. Or somebody else can hold a cane or a spear or something against your back and see if you can straighten out the lower back. When you do this, you don't do it by tightening up the rectus abdominal muscles, the lower abdominal muscles. Although that would make sense because these are antagonistic to the muscles in the lower back that hold the tension. But if you tighten up the rectus abdominal muscles, you're just moving the tension from one side of the waist to the other, and you're still not going to be able to twist your waist. What you want to do is relax the lower back and leave the rectus abdominis and the transverse abdominis muscles relaxed, loose, like this. This way you can contract them like that, and then you can twist them. And you'll find that the rotatorius muscles, which often people think of as merely proprioceptive transducers to let you know if you're losing your balance or not. In fact, if you open up your lower back, they can relax, which means they can contract, which means they can help you to rotate your lower spine. So now you can do this. Without moving your hips, you can twist your waist. To do this, you have to put all of the weight that was in the small of your back on your quadriceps. So if you open up the lower back and twist the waist, that means that you can also breathe with the lower belly. So when you breathe in, the lower belly expands. When you breathe out, the lower belly contracts. So all of the tension that was in the waist is gone now. Where did it go? It didn't go to your hips. It didn't go to your knees. If your feet are relaxed, your body is upright, and your lower back is straight, then it should go into your thighs. So you should feel as relaxed as a cloud from here to here. And you should be able to fry eggs on your thighs. That way, you'll be able to relax your waist, twist, breathe, generate power, massage the internal organs with everything that you do, all of your movements, break dance, freak people out, annoy people on the bus, that sort of thing. And it's essential for good Tai Chi. If your waist is not mobile and agile and able to expand and contract, then your Tai Chi will not be correct. We often say that if there's a problem in your Tai Chi, look for it in the waist. Waist is a terrible thing to mind. Thank you. See you next time at TaiChiCentral.com.